Hello everybody, welcome back. So I've not been here for a few days. I did the live stream last night and it was relatively interesting for, looking through, hours worth of charts and things. Came to the idea that many altcoins are all at like a very, very strong level of support, although Bitcoin being at essentially a level of I suppose you could call it the top level of a resistance, right? So that could mean like horrendous devastation for altcoins, or if Bitcoin decides it was going to pull itself out of this area and doesn't accumulate in this zone and reaccumulates, I suppose, within this zone between 49,000 and basically 54,000, then altcoins could rally significantly, and they are basically at the best buys you could possibly ask for, given the way that the market looks overall. And before we talk about, I'm not going to go through all these altcoins, that's what the live stream is all about, but you just have to trust me, there were so many of them. It felt like half of the ones we looked at last night all gave the same read, which again is concerning if Bitcoin were to break down again, or not even just break down, but retest some of these lower lows, because it would bring those altcoins below their major level of support. And again, if that is the case, then it's still just an opportunity in waiting for us to buy these incredibly low valued altcoins, but it means that they would likely be trashed. I mean, like completely trashed. So it's still a matter of waiting, but for those who've got the biggest balls, I suppose you could stagger some certain buys in at these levels in the hope that Bitcoin doesn't break down or retest lower. And there's reasons why that might not happen. So again, I'm going to add a bit of a clickbait title to this video because I've not been around for a few days. I need to get some subscribers back, but at the same time, there is relevance to what I'm about to say. So first of all, we did on this channel anticipate this kind of drop, and we got it. And it was not based on specifically the chart itself, but it was based on outside forces, So we had the Megatron virus, we had tapering with all these other things, and traditional markets especially. And with that, we're not going to look at all of them, but the overall, I suppose, the most closely linked to Bitcoin and crypto is the Nasdaq, and this is the Nasdaq at the moment. So the Nasdaq broke down. This is obviously doesn't trade over the weekend, but it broke down, and then on this dip we got bought back up just before close, and then Bitcoin decided to do its massive mega dump. So Bitcoin is it's lagging behind this, right? So there is a chance that, okay, what we're looking at here, we are looking at effectively more basically the downtrend appears to be kind of over. What we really want to see is us break out of this area and go on to make new highs, which we might do. And again, we can't look at this on a weekend and speculate too much. However, price action in comparison to moving averages and Bollinger Band status would suggest that actually it's more bullish than bearish on the Nasdaq. So if the Nasdaq is able to pull its socks up again and go, all right, sorry about the little pullback there, I'm okay, then if we look at Bitcoin and crypto as a lagger behind this, and again this is just a little piece of the puzzle, then actually the low for Bitcoin and crypto, well maybe not crypto, but for Bitcoin especially, is likely in. So the Nasdaq looks like it wants to be okay. I can't guarantee that it is, but it's much better looking than the Bitcoin chart, which obviously doesn't look quite like that. We've had the buyback, but we're still hanging around this area, which again we need to get above at least the 49,000 area, above the 200 exponential, and ideally I can't really get really bullish on it until we reclaim this original sort of major buy zone, really, which is between 54,000 and the top being about 58,000. We will easily flip around to get turbo bullish again once we break out of this area. We will go on to all those targets which we were all talking about not too long ago, right? But altcoins are different, because this being at the essentially a top area of resistance at the moment, or a bit of a sketchy area, potentially wanting to come down again, it leads us. And these are just the ones that are up now. So we'll just look at VRA for instance, just for fun. So VRA, major support level down here. You can see this going back several, more or less back to the beginning of the year. We had supports over here, and supports here. So that comes in at a nice round number of 3 cents, and we saw this a lot as well. Lots of round numbers, for buy zones. Round numbers are the key for for a lot of people who don't chart things out. They just have nice numbers stuck in their heads, and that's where they buy things. So that's a VRA for you. We'll look at EOS, obviously, for fun. Massive multi-year support, this one, going back a very long time. and come down to revisit it here. Now again, you know, if we break down from here, then it would be very, very tragic, but actually it's been a decent reaction from it so far. And XRP is a similar kind of vibe. XRP's got a bit more to it, but again, you know, a very significant level of support here. Downwards channel. This is a bullish formation. These often break to the up, but until it breaks to the up, it essentially goes down. So we are a multi-month support, 76, and obviously the low is a lot lower down than that. So these aren't the greatest examples, actually. There were so many more that we looked at, but the idea being is that they are dancing around supports, whereas Bitcoin's dancing around at resistance. So if we break and accumulate in this area instead, altcoins will be okay, and you could look at those buys now and go, okay, this is the time, or at least a time to at least pick some up. Never be all in, obviously. Don't try and catch a knife with your life savings. You split your money up, don't you? That's the best way to do it. Okay, this is a reasonably obvious area to pick some up in the anticipation that we do go bullish, or at least just sideways. And the Nasdaq's given us subtle clues that the market overall, the traditional markets, look as though they may already have had their temporary low in at least, but we'll see. We need to make a higher high. At the moment we don't have that. So Bitcoin, crypto and everything else all combined, you know, could I know it doesn't feel like it at the moment. Everybody goes, oh, it's bear market, it's a bear market. But I don't think it is. I think it's just another one of those pullbacks that we're all getting. We should all be used to. I mean, I certainly am, but some people aren't, and I think that's why they flap around and get so upset. Flip cars over in the streets, you know, and break the windows of the local greengrocers. All that kind of mad behaviour just because the price has gone down. I mean, it's just, that's not really how we're supposed to behave. We should just watch it and go, it is what it is. That's crypto. We like the big gains, but you don't get big gains without big drops. And with big drops, you get big gains afterwards if you buy those drops. And we are not effectively in a bear market, which I don't think we are. So if we go back a little bit further in time, we go on the weekly. There's no reason to suggest that this is a downtrend, particularly at the moment. It looks a little skew whiff, but it's actually pretty much still higher highs, higher lows forming on candle bodies anyway. I'm okay with the way that this looks on the weekly. It is turning down a little bit. Just a little bit, but last time we did this, we had a crossover here, diverged. By the time the divergence really started, the low was essentially in. Bottom, double bottom, triple bottom really, and that was the low. So yeah, I'm all for this accumulating at the lower level and being okay, and this is why I suppose you've got to have the big balls to buy, you know, the dip at the moment for the altcoins. But if we do trail behind the Nasdaq and traditional markets, which seem to be perking up a little bit at the moment, coming into next week we'll learn a little bit more. Then yeah, some of these altcoins right now are they do seem very tasty, and with the overall market looking so healthy, which it is, we'll just go to the total market cap, including Bitcoin. So this is a savage uptrend. It's been a savage uptrend for a long time. We peaked at just short of 3 trillion, or was it 3 trillion, give or take, and had a bit of a pullback, but still, as far as this is concerned, conversion baseline Ichimoku cloud cross here above the cloud with a Chiku span. Everything about this is still saying continuation of this trend. It would take this Chiku span to dip into the price action for that to be cancelled out, or for this blue to cross this red conversion baseline negatively for that trend to be over. The trend began around here, lower than we are at right now. So as far as this signal is concerned, it's still in play. And guess what else has got that signal? Big old Bitcoin as well has got that signal. So we got this on the Ichimoku cloud on the weekly too. So we got a conversion baseline cross above the cloud, Chiku span above price action, price above the cloud as well. So it looks pretty good to me. As far as this is concerned, this is your entry point, which was tested again this week. And this trend is going to continue until it's told that it's not. Again, it would take for this to touch price action, or the blue to touch the red for it to cancel out. So I can understand the fear in the market, but this is often the case. You know, people get scared, people don't want to trade, and that's fine. You should sometimes, the best trades are to just sit back and wait. You know, buying into strength is most of the time a good idea, as long as it doesn't, you know, you don't cross the line and start to FOMO. Buying into strength is different. At the moment we don't particularly have any kind of strength forming, but what we do have is long-term continuation signals still in play. We have traditional markets looking like they're recovering, or potentially going to recover next week, and again Bitcoin will lag behind that, and at the moment it's still lagging behind that. But the drop that we were all witness to effectively was initiated by those traditional markets, which is again initiated by outside forces. You know, usually to do with the American economy, right, or threats to the American economy. So there's still a lot that hangs in the balance, but based on the chart and breaking it down the way I've done it, which again, you know, led to the drop, which we anticipated, could lead to the recovery, which I am anticipating. However, if it fails, it's no big deal. Bitcoin will continue in this, which I think is the most likely scenario, even though there are telltale signs that we will maybe not accumulate at such a low level, we'll accumulate at a higher level. There are telltale signs that that might be the case. It'll still go through a period of accumulation. I don't think the V-shaped recovery is the most likely scenario. It never was. An accumulation, I thought, first of all, in here was going to be the most likely scenario. However, if Nasdaq and everybody else wants to recover, then we might just accumulate in this level instead before we get into the bullish zone, which is this purple box, and then finally work our way out. So overall, I think the market is actually pretty good, and these are the opportunities now where we could think of staggering certain buys. Altcoins, again, you know, at supports, while Bitcoin essentially is at resistance, does make it a bit more scary to make the decision to buy those altcoin dips. But if for me personally, I did buy some more of a few things. Not really go into details as to what they are, because you know I don't want you to get wrecked on my behalf, but. I have bought some things over this last week as we were testing those lows and those supports. But, again, word of warning, if those supports break, which they could do, because there's all kinds of things that can happen just in this next week, and Bitcoin being at resistance while altcoins are at support is not a good place to be trying to trade an altcoin. Then, yeah, we'll get some really, really nasty red days for altcoins, and that should be not expected, but we should look to that as a possibility. So either way, opportunity in this market is presenting itself as we speak already, literally right now. Right, there were some other things I was going to say, but I think this video has gone on long enough. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys, and yes, like, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff, and join the Telegram or the Patreon if you want to get the live streams. Thanks for watching again. Take it easy.